Percy Simmons, born 1952. Years at Penhurst, 1971 to 1987. Percy Simmons' trademark approach to life is to enjoy the simple pleasures, like savoring a cup of coffee while talking.
Percy, do you remember anything about Penhurst? Was it a place you remember living there? What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you remember living there with maybe Roosevelt for a while? In a house, a doctor's house?
Mm-hmm.
In the 1970s, when Percy Simmons was living at Penhurst, he loved to explore whenever he could get outside. At first, when asked what he did at Penhurst, Percy scrunched his forehead, closed his eyes, and shook his head no. When asked again what he did at Penhurst, Percy opened his eyes, smiled, and pointed out the window. "Trees," he said.
Do you remember going to work? Did you go to work at Penhurst?
That's true.
Outside? Worked outside with trees? You take care of the grounds? Okay.
In fact, former Penhurst staff remember Percy as quite a climber of buildings, and no doubt of trees too, earning him the nickname Spider-Man. It was time for Percy to move into a community home. He was the very last person to leave before Penhurst closed forever, and was initially resistant to moving out of the place where he had lived and climbed all those trees and buildings. Nevertheless, when shown that his new home, Percy gave a big smile when he saw that he'd have his own bedroom, television, and even a beer in the refrigerator. Over 30 years after leaving Penhurst, Percy was asked who his friends were. He quickly looked and pointed to his housemate, Rosie. Roosevelt was one of the people who lived with Percy at Penhurst, and a number of homes since.
Do you remember any of the people that lived with you? Any friends? Roosevelt?
Other Penhurst memories were harder for Percy to express. The effort to talk had pulled him away from watching his favorite TV show. Perhaps it was time for Spider-Man.
You think of anything you want to tell me about Penhurst, good or bad? Doesn't have to be anything special. Anything you liked about it? Said he worked in the grounds crew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it a part of your life you don't like to remember? You try to forget? You just don't remember, it's too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard to remember it? I'm trying to tell from your face. Something hurt?
Percy.
I've never even had him seen this. All right, Percy, tell you what, we'll stop, because I think maybe it's hard for you to talk about, okay? But I'm still glad to meet you and take your picture.
And besides, Percy had finished his second cup of coffee.